Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Footy Banter and Insights. We have a very special episode today with the live fan reaction from the Spurs versus Arsenal game. Pleasure to be having three very fun guests with us today. We've got Anirudh Agarwal, who is one of the biggest Arsenal fans I know. He actually lives in London and he is an Arsenal season ticket holder. And I think over the last few years, he's really enjoyed seeing this Mikel Arteta team at play. We've got Vishesh, who is Varun's younger brother, and he is compared to the both of them more calmer, more rational in his views. So we're looking forward to hearing that segment as well. And we've got Pratik Kalaria, who is one of the best Chelsea fans that I have seen. Apart from being a Chelsea fan, he's actually definitely the best footballer on this chat today. He has played youth football in Portugal. He's been trained over there, and would love to hear his views as well. So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start with the Arsenal fans for the amazing win today. So, Varun, why don't you tell me all about today's game?
Okay, let's start with the starting lineups. I think Spurs came out with a very attacking starting lineup. I was a little surprised by that, but if I look at it from a Spurs point of view, correct, I think that manager did a great job with that starting lineup because you need to take an initiative when you are at home and when your opposition is at its weakest. And Arsenal was definitely at their weakest with Odegaard and Declan Rice injured and out suspended. So I think from that point of view, Spurs, I think I was surprised with their starting lineup, but I liked how they were approaching it. From an Arsenal's point of view, we were set up completely opposite. We were set up to be defensive. We were playing a solid back four with Partey and Jorginho in front of them. And the idea for us was again very opposite to what Spurs were thinking. We were trying to be solid defensively and then nick a goal either at a set piece or on a counter attack. And that's what actually happened. So I think that starting lineup was a very interesting part to this North London derby that happened. And I think the first 30 minutes, if I look at it, Raya was a very important player. The save that he made to keep us in the game were extremely crucial because in a game like this, the first goal is the most important one. And of course, Gabriel, Saliba, extremely solid. Timber was solid as well. Ben White, I feel, was having a slightly below par game, especially in the first half. But I think as the game progressed, his game improved as well. Um, Overall, I think a great performance by Arsenal, defensively very solid. Could have taken a couple of chances in the first half. But again, like as an Arsenal fan, I'm extremely happy with the outcome.
Anirudh, what were your views?
Similar to Hadoos, I think very relieved. I think all of us were quite nervous before the game because such a big game, especially on back of how well Man City has been playing. So you need to win these games to win the title, and that is the current expectation of all the Arsenal supporters, right? So coming so close last 2 years, I think this year the expectation is even higher, and that's how they've built up all our excitement. So a very important win. I think on the starting lineup, I I don't agree that we were set up defensively. I think it's the best he could have done with the injuries and with the red card of Declan Rice. So I think a lot of talk was around who would deputize in the midfield in absence of Marino, Odegaard, Declan Rice, and all the permutations, combination around Kai Havertz playing back, playing as a number eight. And I mean, he's done so well playing as a shadow nine, but all the talk was around him playing back as an eight, and maybe Jesus, who's fit again, playing as a nine, or Raheem Sterling getting his first start for Arsenal. But no one saw that he would play Trossard as a number eight. I don't think he's played that position before. So I think that was a big surprise, at least for me. I don't think that was defensive. I think that was probably a good tactical win for Arteta. He kept Spurs guessing as to who's going to play eight, who's going to play nine, who's going to deputize. I think Odegaard coming as an eight, and he's never played that position before. I think he did a great job. Him and Kai kept changing positions. I think they kept the defense guessing. But I think overall as a team, I think our win is on back of our defense solidarity.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? I think even on attack, we Martinelli was lacking in confidence. He was quite wasteful at times. But I mean, our defense is so strong, and I think this is the Arsenal that we love to see, who are able to fight their way and win these games which are tightly fought, and that's how you win titles. So as an Arsenal fan, extremely happy.
Awesome. So I think this entire topic leads to the the 1-0 to the Arsenal. If you remember the good old Panem on Sol Campbell days, when you score one goal and the game is dead. And with that, I'll want to understand Vishesh's thoughts as well. Vishesh, what were your views?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to start by echoing the 2 points that Anirudh has said. That defensively we looked extremely solid, right? After scoring, I think there was still like 20 plus minutes to go, but I was sure that we have this game in the bag, and that's a very rare feeling for an Arsenal fan to have. But throughout the entire game, Gabriel, Saliba, they looked solid. I have actually till date never seen Son so quiet in the entire game. So that was really pleasing to see for an Arsenal fan. And on the other wing, I think Brennan Johnson was having an off day. I do really like him a lot. He's technically very good, and he's very direct as well, right? But today he was like sort of having a off day, or maybe we can say that Timber did his job extremely well. So yeah, defensively we were solid, and yeah, Arteta's entire focus in Odegaard and Rice's absence was to ensure that we are defensively solid. So while going ahead, the team was hesitating, right? There were not a lot of one-touch passes to put people through. They were taking a touch and looking to play back, looking to play horizontal before going ahead. So that sort of cautious approach, I think it is fine, in this match. But again, our star boy Saka delivered. I think that was a fabulous corner. And yeah, Gabriel did what Gabriel does, and yeah, an extremely good occasion to have that goal.
Great.
Another point to focus on was with Trossard starting as a forward, we were creating, because Trossard has a tendency to drift left, right? We are creating a lot of overload on the left-hand side. With Martinelli focusing on the left, Timber also has a tendency to go forward on the left, and Trossard drifting left as well. We were creating, especially in the first half, there were 2 or 3 times when we created the overload on the left-hand side and we were able to give good crosses in the box. I think that setup also was extremely important when we kind of were playing in that first half. It created a lot of chances for us.
Great. I'd like to weigh in with a couple of points. So one, because we've got Pratik and Ishan on the line as well. One big player from Spurs today who wasn't mentioned at all was James Maddison. And tactically, what I noticed was that Jorginho was on him, literally like a rash. He never gave him an inch to kind of play the ball forward, play those key passes. And in fact, he was playing most of the game in the middle half. So today, like Pratik, what was your view on the game? What was your view on Jorginho's handling of Maddison? And were there 1 or 2 key players which were standing out for you today?
So UV, to be honest, I think I just got 30 minutes of the game today.
Okay.
I'll try my best to analyze whatever I saw. I was actually with my family earlier, but yeah,
Okay.
I think it's definitely a massive win for Arsenal, considering that there was no Odegaard, there was no Declan Rice playing for them, and I do follow a lot of Spurs fans on YouTube, especially Expressions, and he seemed to be very confident about the victory today. But there's just one chant for Tottenham. If you guys can help me with that. What do you think of Tottenham?
Shit.
Shit. What do you think of shit?
Tottenham.
That is
All
exactly
right.
what happened today. That is exactly what happened today. They fucked up. Oh, sorry. I'm sure they messed
It's
up the
fine, it's
game.
fine, it's fine.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
They really messed up the game. You can say that before the game started, they had a very good chance of showing that they could be back this season. And unfortunately for the Tottenham fans, it didn't work out for them today. So that's my best bit of analysis. I didn't get to watch the game, but yeah.
Okay, sure. Ishan, what was your view on the game and on some specific players?
I think it couldn't have been easier for Spurs to win this game. playing at home and playing without so many key players against Arsenal, I think it couldn't have been easier, and they would be like kicking themselves to not make it through. I don't think there was a big difference between the quality of football played between the two sides, but I think just few moments here and there defined the game. I feel Martinelli was a big letdown for Arsenal today, and I definitely see Arsenal making some solutions for left wing to put more competition against Martinelli in the coming transfer windows. I think there's a big scope of improvement in terms of like left wing players, which Arsenal can add if they want to reach City's level. So one is that. Secondly, I felt I felt Timber was solid. His pace is something which is I really was impressed with. And despite the ACL injury that he had last season, I think he has come back in a very solid way. But I think Arsenal won the game on the back of defense, as Anirudh said, and they didn't allow Tottenham to create much. Although Dominic Solanke had a good game in terms of helping the build up and trying to do as much as he could, but I didn't think that the Tottenham team were able to create as much for him as they should have. So the Arsenal, like, kudos to their defense, and I think that's the reason they won the match today.
So I've got like a few observations overall. Number one, if I notice on the touchline, Ange was very, very subdued. Like at no point of time he was firing up his players, doing a little bit from the outside to kind of step into the game in some way. Whereas Arteta, if you see, he was extremely animated throughout the game. Even around the 85th minute, there was a time wherein the ball had gone out of play and he was just urging his players to rush back because he doesn't want to concede that goal. The second, again, there's an old adage, right?
Maybe because Arsenal have a lot to lose than Tottenham.
And Arteta has always been like that. Arteta,
But even-
irrespective of which game it is, he's always been that kind of a character on the touchline.
Okay. But I was surprised that Ange did not have that energy. That is the worst part of it. When you're at home and when you have the chance to beat your rivals in a big way, and you're not really putting that kind of emotion out there, I think there was something lacking. The second bit which is there is everyone likes to play good football, and it seems pleasing to the eye. But the defense is something that actually wins you the title. And I think this Arsenal team on paper for me has the best defense in the league right now. If you look at Raya, every single game week that we analyze, he pulls off one or two saves which keeps Arsenal in the game. We look at Saliba. Now that one bit I remember very distinctly in the first half. Spurs beat the Arsenal defensive block. A very good interception caused Dominic Solanke with a clear shot on goal. Solanke took one touch extra, and Saliba from almost, I think, 10 yards rushed in and got that block. Now, that block doesn't get made. He forces the keeper or it goes into the goal and the game completely changes from there. So I think little bits here and there from Raya, from Saliba, we see every game. And it's like really impressive. Even Gabriel, I think this season so far, Gabriel had his best game even after not counting the goal. And
A very interesting stat during the game. After the first 30 minutes, Raya had the most touches amongst the Arsenal players.
Wow.
So that showed how good he was in that initial phase of the game. Because North London derbies are always tense, right? And sometimes the team takes time to settle down. So I think in that kind of a scenario, Raya having that kind of a influence on the game was very pleasing to see.
True.
One more thing I think was Ange. Sorry, you continue.
No, my only other point was that if I look at the overall game, I think Spurs were very slow. Like there was no urgency, especially if I look at the first half. It almost felt like a mechanical display. I didn't feel it was a North London derby. It felt more, just like going through the motions and just trying to create extra possession rather than being that direct.
I think Spurs started strong, right? I mean, I just like try to do a minute by minute. And Raya, I've written like he made a phenomenal save on the 7th minute, right? And then there were like a couple of, they started strong, starting 10-15 minutes, but then after that, like, Arsenal set into their groove, and like, Spurs sort of took a back seat. But second half, it was completely off. But I think what changed is that you'll be going back to your point. Maddison was playing further deep in the second half. I don't know why. In the first half, I think he created one chance for Solanke where, like, his header was saved or something like that. But second half, Maddison was completely cut out of the game. So that was pretty disappointing to see from a Spurs perspective.
One thing that I think did help us to win the game was the number of yellow cards that were awarded in the first half, right? I think 7 in total for Spurs, three for Arsenal, and then
I think that
5-2. 5-2. So I mean that I think did really help us, because most of the yellow cards that were awarded were to Spurs backline. So that did help us in a way, because they were slightly more timid in the second half. So we were able to attack that space and win the duels, which we do. So I think that in some way did help us to absorb the pressure. Because Spurs, as you said, Vishesh, Spurs started the game very strongly. The first 20 minutes, I think they had close to 80% possession. We had 20, and I was getting very nervous because they started so well, and I thought that the formation that Arteta has played is not working, so he should make changes. But I think these yellow cards and the disruption play did help us absorb a lot of that pressure and allowed us to come into the game.
One big trick.
Yeah, Ishan, go on.
I think one big trick Ange missed out was he didn't sub out Brennan Johnson early in the game. I think I would have liked that to happen. Kulusevski could have played right wing, and maybe Pape Matar, who has been good for Spurs for a season and a half. I think he could have been in the midfield. So they subbed Brennan Johnson, I think, during around 70th minute mark. I think that it would have been better if he could have been subbed out during the halftime, or like say 50th minute or something like that. But it was too late as per me.
I was thinking the same about Martinelli at one point, right? Me and Vishesh were actually watching the game together, and
like
we were thinking
Martinelli should not have come out the second half. So
and okay, fine, he came out in the second half, but at least at 60th minute or 65th minute, he could have taken him off and probably gotten someone like Jesus on, and then Trossard moving back to the left. Something like that could have been done, especially because Martinelli was having an off day today. So,
I have a question for the Arsenal fans here. What do you guys think of the Raheem Sterling signing this year? Are you guys looking forward to adding him to your team?
I think
underwhelming.
From a financial perspective, the signing is not bad. I think we are paying 150k off his wages, something like that. There is no obligation to buy, right? So I think it is not a bad signing. And
question is Raheem Sterling a signing that will take you from number 2 spot to number 1 spot? And I don't think so. Correct. So you can debate a lot about the financial side of it, and the steal, it's not a steal. As a fan, all I am thinking of and all I am looking at is how are we winning the league this year, right? Is Raheem Sterling helping us achieve that? It's a big no, according to me at least.
And he's an upgrade to Martinelli for sure.
I would have in fact preferred someone like Sancho, right? So if Sancho was going to Chelsea, we could have swooped in and gotten Sancho instead.
We didn't have the money.
Sterling.
Sancho, we didn't have the money.
So Sancho signing has come with an obligation to buy him if you finish top 14 in the league. Then you have to buy Sancho at the end of the season. Probably that is one of the reasons why I think Arsenal went for Sterling, is to make sure that
again, not looking at it from the financial point of view. I'm looking at purely based on the quality and what the player can bring to the team. That's what I care about as a fan, because I want Arsenal to win the league after finishing second for the last 2 years. Right? It doesn't matter. All that doesn't matter. Bottom line is, will the signing help us win it? So I'm looking at it from that perspective.
I just feel that Arteta has proven me, and I think probably more than 90% of the Arsenal fans, wrong by getting something out of Havertz, right? His changing his attitudes, changing his hunger for victory and everything, and changing his efficiency on the ball in terms of goal scoring as well, right? So maybe he can prove us wrong with Sterling as well. I think we should give him time.
He hasn't proved Varun wrong.
Agreed. I expected Havertz to be like a 3 out of 10 signing, but I would say at least he's like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I think again, not a player who can win us the league, I feel, but definitely better than what I expected, for sure.
The number of points has increased from 5 to 7. I'm happy to hear that.
Again, as I said, right, in our previous videos as well, is he the striker that's going to get you 25, 30 goals in an EPL season to win you that title? Our answer is a big no, right? And I think that's what we need. We need that 25 to 30 goal contribution from a striker to win the league. I don't. Do you see us winning a league with Harvard scoring 10 goals in the Premier League or 15 goals in the Premier League? It's difficult. It's very difficult.
But unfortunately, Chelsea are buying all the strikers and all the players. So we have
Varun, then you should have gone for Lukaku rather than Sterling.
Thank God you're not in charge of Arsenal. Thank God. I think that's why you should support Chelsea.
I'd like to know one more thing from everyone who follows this closely. Like, what has changed so much in the Arsenal setup? Like today, for example, the set piece coach, he was talked about during the game. And I think it's a very interesting point that Arsenal have actually scored a lot more set pieces goal over the last few years. And even defensively, if you look at it, they are actually very well organized. So, does anyone have more information about this?
I think they had hired a set piece specialist, either early last season or the year before that. And another very interesting stat about this last season, actually, Arsenal were the team that scored the most goals from corners.
Correct.
So like you would hardly imagine that 10 years ago when Wenger was the manager, and set pieces used to be like the weakest point, right? Both going forward and defending. And now you see the improvement in the efficiency of the set pieces. I think it's a big kudos to Arteta on that front.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
he
came
got that
from
also from City. I think he was working
so
with, I don't remember the name, but
Nicholas Jover. So he was with Arteta at Man City, and at the time, I think when I read an article about him at the time, Pep Guardiola did not believe in giving enough weight to set piece coaching because he felt, well, I think let's focus on defensive movements, attacking positions, and set pieces is somewhat luck driven and a chance and a probability driven. So he didn't give too much attention to set pieces. So Arteta convinced him to sign Nicholas Jover from somewhere in Italy, and then he moved to Man City. And then when Arteta moved to Arsenal, he asked him to join him at Arsenal and gave him a proper mandate to build a set piece routine that can give us these small margins that he keeps talking about to win such games, and we saw that today. So I think when we talk about the defensive focus, I think one thing that I've observed about Arsenal is they keep fixing a lot of small mistakes. They keep fixing a lot of small issues that they've had in the past. And there's a lot of emphasis on defending as a team. So you even see Kai Havertz dropping back and playing as a defensive midfielder. You even see Gabriel Jesus. You see defending with a team of 11 and not with a team of 9 or a 10. So that's the big change. I think they defend as a unit, and they celebrate their defensive achievements as well. So it's not just scoring goals. You see so many times Gabriel chesting his pump or showing his fist when he makes a great block. So I think there's a lot of emphasis on, look, let's not only celebrate our goals, let's also celebrate our great defensive positioning.
Too much praise for Arsenal. Can we move to the next team?
So one final roundup. So I think this particular match we had all discussed before as well. I think without Rice and Odegaard, this would have represented a huge challenge, and Arsenal have come out very well from this. And now next week is their biggest challenge of the season, which is City away, and in the middle they've got Atlanta away as well. So from where we stand at this moment in time, and not like letting your emotions get too high, do you think Arsenal are serious contenders, or do you think they'll kind of wane away as the season progresses? Like one final views, and then we wrap up this video.
I think
I think
yeah, go ahead, Anirudh.
no, I'll let you go first, Shadow.
I think my view stays the same. They are contenders, but not the favorites. Again, the same point that I said earlier. I don't think we have the striker to win us the league. And again, injury to a player like Odegaard or even Saka, we don't have adequate replacements on that front. So going forward, I think we are lacking goals overall in the season. Of course, like there will be games in which we score 4-0, 5-0, but I'm looking at it more from a holistic perspective. I think, I think number of goals in crucial points of in the season is going to be important and kind of a factor that will play into it.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think we are strong challengers. I don't think I think we rely a lot on City dropping points than us winning the Premier League. I think it will be somewhat luck driven, but I don't agree that we will not win the title because we don't have a striker. I think we've seen Mourinho win the league without a striker, with Duff, with Robin, with Joe Cole. Without a striker, he's won the league as well at Chelsea. So I don't necessarily think that we need a striker and all-out goal scorer. I think you can still win the league. But I think this Arsenal side, I think City team is definitely far superior in every position, especially going forward. So I think we rely a lot more on City dropping points than us winning the title.
Yeah, I just feel that the added anxiousness around the Arsenal fans doesn't help, right? Like the entire talk before this game week, it's just the fourth game week of the season, right? That's like less than 10% of the league is done. And then the talk was just that if we lose points this game week, we are 4 to 5 points behind City, and our season is over. Like that sort of anxiousness turns into negativity very fast. And I think that will translate into pressure on the players on the field, right? So and plus, like, our fixture list in the start of the season is not easy, and next week we are facing City. So let's hope that we can perform the same way against them this year like we did in the previous season and get some points off them in both the games. That'd be a major victory. But yeah, I think we are still that. I agree with my brother that unfortunately we are still that one jigsaw piece away from winning the league. We need that like mercurial striker. I don't see us winning the league without that mercurial striker. Like Arteta has fixed all the gaps in the defense. He has got really great backups now. So I'm not even scared of Saliba or Gabriel getting injured, right? As I was last season. But we don't have that clinical striker, and without that it's extremely difficult. Like, we can challenge them, like maybe live until like April, but I think winning is very difficult in my opinion.
You just saw of course we'll get to this in the second section of the video, but you saw the kind of impact Haaland has, right? A clinical striker can get you back in the game from nowhere. I think that's the difference.
Do you know any player on the market who is going to be that like a Haaland quality, or say 10% below him also? I don't think there's anyone on the market like him.
That's the problem. I mean, those players don't exist anymore. Players like Benzema, players like Raul, players like Haaland. I mean, he's one of very few, right? I mean, those players don't exist anymore. I think players are now more of the type of playing shadow 9, dropping into spaces, finding those channels. I mean, Haaland is one of a kind. I mean, he's physically strong, he's tall. I mean, he's one of the very few strikers who's got all the attributes that makes a perfect target man. You don't have those anymore.
For Anirudh, absolutely true.
For me, if you have like 70 million next season, I'll go for Isaac.
Anirudh, you are absolutely true about that false 9, right? But look at I'll just give you an example. Like Firmino used to play that false 9, but then he had someone like Salah and Mane scoring 25 goals each, right? Do we have those kind of... You need those players that score 25 plus goals a season to win the league, right? So if you don't have that as a striker, you need to have that as a winger or a couple of wingers, in fact. And we don't have that going forward. I think that is the piece that we are missing.
Just an off-field comment on this. So back in the early 90s, there was a title in Italy wherein AC Milan, if I'm not wrong, I think it was AC Milan. They won the title scoring 36 goals and conceding the least number of goals in the season. And the team which finished bottom three, they actually ended up scoring more goals than them. So if you can get 30 clean sheets, I think you're halfway there.
That was Maldini and Nesta.
Yeah. that was corrected. That was Baresi. Baresi and Maldini.
Baresi and Maldini. I mean,
Okay, so congratulations to the Arsenal fans. And of course, any loss for Spurs is a win for Chelsea as well. So congratulations to the Chelsea fans as well. And let's wrap it
You are
up.
forgetting
Yeah.
that one more team won 1-0.
We'll get to it later.
Honestly, to be honest with you, I would have been happier if Arsenal won. Sorry, if Tottenham won today instead
Yeah,
of Arsenal.
even same for me.
I think it would have been a much better result because then on the points table as well, we would have crossed Arsenal. But that didn't work out for us.
I think for UV, I think we are competing with Tottenham
Yes.
more than we are competing
Yes.
with us.
Definitely. I think expectation setting is very important here.
absolutely. If I were a Chelsea fan, I would be thinking the same.
Because I think there are two different rungs, but yeah.
Okay, great guys. People, those who are watching, thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, and thank you for joining us.